this every day, but you got a cool hat. I love that movie you did with Will Ferrell, man. Elf was fat. Anyways, I love the things you do. Don't forget, bring my gift. Truly yours, I believe in you. This is Stu.
Stu, which is Eminem's Stan, but with letters to Santa, with a cameo from none other than Eminem himself. So, Lanny, did this one, lift you up? Was this one a bigger win?
I think it was a bigger win. I have notes.
Hit us.
So I just think it was a pretty decent Stan parody.
Mm-hmm.
Stan was 20 years ago. So you're you're going to have the question of why are we doing this now?
Mhm.
And I don't think they were successful in answering that. But if you have Eminem saying he wants to do this, great, make it work. So if we wanted to really make this parody work, as an evergreen parody, then have it be mapped more closely onto the original Eminem song of him being obsessed with Eminem and wanting to be Eminem. Now he's writing to Santa. Wouldn't he do that same behavior, obsessed with
Right.
Santa, wanting to be Santa? The
Yeah.
PS5 kind of felt like, is this a backhanded commercial for a PS5? Is he a grown-up who doesn't know that, he hasn't let go of Santa or whatever? All of these questions didn't really get answered for me, and it just kind of felt like we weren't going anywhere, and I didn't see heightening in any way. So yeah. I ended up just thinking about all the ways I would have liked the sketch to go differently, because I do think that the lyrics were well written, and I think it was well executed and well performed and well shot. But there's just content-wise, we really could have made stronger choices.
Fair enough. I thought this was brilliant.
Okay.
I loved it. Yeah.
Let's have a back and forth.
I thought it was a pretty inspired choice, actually, to take Stan, but make it letters to Santa. I guess for me, because I grew up in the time that song was popular, I didn't need a ton of context. I was just fine to roll with it. So I just was, as soon as we see Pete walking down the stairs with the bleached hair, I was like, oh, yes, I'm here for it. I'm ready. And then they came with some pretty well-written verses, and that's not easy to do. So props to Stephen Castillo and Dan Beulah. They wrote it, and I thought did a pretty phenomenal job, nailing those verses in that parody. I thought Pete actually came through with a pretty breakout performance. I'm not always the biggest Pete fan, but he really did a great job in this. And I mean, this sketch had everything. It had Bowen as Elton John. We got Kate doing who is in the original song? Dido. And Pete doing good. We got Stan. I was having a really good time with it. And I thought this was really amazing. So I see your point though. But I mean, for me, I didn't need a ton more context to it. I was happy to roll with it. So John, be the tiebreaker.
Am I the tiebreaker? I'm actually going to split. I'm going to split the difference because
All right.
I agree with you, Catherine. I think that this was an inspired idea. I think taking Stan and reappropriating it with a festive theme already, you've got something to work with there. The letters, that's already kind of the structure of the video, the back and forth. So I liked all that. And, I had enough context for Stan to know what I was seeing. The big thing that I thought was a real win for it was the rhyming structure, that complicated Eminem rhyming structure, and how beautifully they were able to follow it and make lyrics that sounded organic and well developed. Like, it doesn't sound like they were shoehorning in words that just syllabically shouldn't work. It felt good musically. So it had a lot working for it right out of the gate. And then we get about halfway through, and I felt like the joke ran out of steam. I love Bowen, and I love Bowen as Elton John. I thought there's a really fun visual there. And I think in another vehicle, Bowen as Elton John could make hay. But in this, it didn't feel like that did anything wonderful for the sketch. I didn't think it said anything new or took the joke to a new place, other than we've got an impression and we're just going to throw it in because we need to pad this out. I felt like right around that point, it was out of steam, and they needed to figure out a more elegant way to either take it somewhere new or get out of it. So I feel like it's kind of like a flawed masterpiece. Like there's a lot of brilliance here, but at the same time, it's not perfect because I do feel like
Mhm.
I do feel like they just started to meander there a bit.
Yep.
Kind of cool that they had Eminem to cap it, but not a super strong capper, especially when you got to do it remotely. And it's, like it's cool to see him there kind of putting his seal of approval on it, but I didn't get much else out of it. So I just kind of feel like it whimpered to the finish line. And I would have loved to see it do something a little bit more soaring in the back half.
Yeah, I do wish that they had given Eminem a little stronger of a blackout line.
Sure.
Because
Mhm.
it's great to see Eminem come in, but yeah, it wasn't. It was sort of a fade out finish as
Yeah.
opposed to a
Yep.
last
whimpered.
punchline.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Right. And I also do want to reiterate that I agree with you guys on that, how well, like, the lyrics and
Yeah.
everything, and how well it was executed, because that is
Mhm.
something I don't want to be missed on this. The writers did do a
Mhm.
great job.
Dear Mr. Holly Jolly Two-Faced son of a bitch, I hope you crash your sleigh and wind up face down in a ditch.
So let's do our best sketch. I don't think I'm going to surprise anybody by saying that Stu is my best sketch. I've already watched it like 3 times and shared it with some friends. I think it was just such an inspired choice and it was really well executed. So that's one that I think might come out of the season for me being one of the top ones. Obviously I don't know what they're gonna do for the next part of the season, but it was a pretty high point for me. So here we go. John,
I
what
can
was yours?
Well, I can respect Stu. It's not my choice, but I wanted to mention something that is gonna speak volumes about just how nerdy I am. Uh, I enjoyed Weird Al Yankovic way too much as a kid.
Yeah.
And I remember one time in an interview, him explaining that he tried to do a parody of Eminem, and Eminem's rhyming scheme is so complex that
Yeah.
even the master of parody, there's no
Mhm.
one better at musical parody than Weird Al Yankovic. He couldn't crack the code. Like he just couldn't make it work.
Mhm.
So I think you really gotta step back and appreciate that they did something pretty awesome with how
Mhm.
well those lyrics fit and served the story that they were trying to tell.
If you want to see our full sketch by sketch review, search for SNL Afterparty on Patreon or subscribestar.com.